Across the world, the coronavirus pandemic has now killed more than 10,000 people.
Within the next 12 weeks.
Pubs, restaurants, cafes will all be shut down.
If people do not stay 2 meters apart when outside, this pandemic will be worse.
Coronavirus. Hey guys, I'm Random here, welcome back to my channel. So do you remember at the beginning of this year when, you know, we all thought it was going to be our year and we were going to be thriving? You know, that was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? 2020 is going to be our year, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Fast forward 3 months and we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so, you know, well played, Lord, well played. So actually, before I start this video, I just want to preface it by saying I did have a script for this video and I was planning on sticking to it quite strictly. But now I'm not so sure about that, and here's the reason why. Hey guys, so I was not preparing to film a clip like this because I wasn't expecting to feel like this. I've just got back from uni a while ago, where the latest update is as of 5 PM today we are on an extended Easter vacation. Lectures are cancelled until the 20th of April is when teaching commences. However, it's not going to be traditional in the form of us coming to campus and, you know, attending lectures at uni. It's going to be online, which is fine, but my main concern is I can't work from home because I don't have the software. I rely quite heavily when I'm at uni on the software to create my outcomes and to do my work, because we need a lot of specialist Adobe software that I just can't afford. And subsequently I started to feel a bit of anxiety towards this whole situation, and that's not good. Because when I get anxious, I spiral, I take steps back in my mental health and my self-growth, and I am terrified that that is going to be the case. And it's not necessarily anxiety over me getting the virus or spreading it to someone else. It's not that. It's the fact that we've had to go into lockdown and the repercussions that that's had on my uni life. I think it's finally hit me, like, how serious this really is. I came home from uni and I prayed. I sort of had a bit of a vent of my worries, anxieties and frustrations out to the Almighty, you know, and I know that that's gonna give me some mental clarity, and God's gonna guide me through this. I know that. The same with, you know, everyone, but I just don't know what to do. I'm currently packing up for my weekend at home, and I'm going to be talking to my parents about this when I get home because I just don't know what to do. And on top of that, my accommodation for next year still hasn't been sorted, which is something that I know was an issue and I know that I needed to sort out. But with everything going on and Lisa not being sure, and I mean, she's gone home today as well, everything's just very, very unsure. And now I'm starting to realise the level of uncertainty that is affecting everyone, and that includes me. I was fine before today until I sort this out, and I don't know how I'm going to sort it out, but I will sort it out, and somehow it's going to be sorted. But I just, yeah, uncertainty for me personally is the main cause of a lot of my anxiety just in life in general, and now that I have uncertainty in terms of this issue, that's why it's starting to hit differently. By the time you see this, my mentality may have changed, but yeah, this is just how I'm feeling right now. Anyway, on with the rest of the video. So yeah, my feelings towards this issue haven't changed a lot, but in terms of my sort of personal emotions and my own sort of mental health, that has changed enough to the point where I don't know how closely I'm going to follow to the script of this video, so just putting that out there. But yeah, anyway, so this video was supposed to be a weekly vlog, and it started out as such. I actually, on Monday when I started this vlog, I actually went to Manchester. I went to the People's History Museum, which was following a recommendation from one of my tutors at my feedback session last week, who said that I should go. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a museum in Manchester which is basically based on the history of politics in this country, and as someone who's very interested in politics myself, it was very, very interesting. And a lot of the posters and the graphic design that I saw there was definitely very very helpful, very inspirational for me. But the main reason that my experience on that day stemmed into this video changing was to do with the transport. Now, obviously, to get to Manchester from Bolton, I have to take the train. The train there wasn't that crowded, right? I was, you know, it was fairly sort of empty. I was able to spread out from people, but on the train home, it closely resembled the London Underground at rush hour in that it was like sardines in a tin, so standing room only. So obviously that put me in a riskier situation compared to the environments that I've been in for the rest of the day. Hence what kind of sparked my inspiration to change up the video a little bit, and thus this video was born. So there's your context, and without further ado, let's get on to the discussion. Again, another bit of a preface here is that my intention with this video is to spread positivity. Although there are going to be some very strong opinions in this video and some very strong thoughts, that is still my intention. I don't mean to anger anyone, I don't mean to annoy anyone, I don't mean to evoke any kind of panic or extra stress, because as I know personally now, that is the last thing that anyone wants in this situation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video anyway. Let's get on with it. So in terms of my personal experience with this whole thing, you know, when it first started to be talked about, I wasn't panicking in any means, and really I'm still not. Obviously, I acknowledge that this is a serious issue and something that has escalated quicker than perhaps we anticipated, but that doesn't mean that we have to panic, and that is definitely still my mindset. You know, I know that if I get ill, I'm gonna be fine. It's just gonna be like a bad cold for me, but I also know that if I do get ill, to self-isolate immediately to avoid spreading it to anyone else who might be vulnerable. Because that's the advice we've been given, and I hope that everyone is sticking to that, which the vast majority are. Now, at first, I think like most people, I don't think I was expecting the scale of this pandemic to reach quite what it has in terms of seriousness, but I think when I started to see things get closed, like Broadway up with the West End, I mean, if you watch my channel, you know I'm a big fan of theatre, so of course that's going to be the first thing that I noticed. I think that's when it started to kind of twig in my brain, like, maybe this is a little bit more serious than perhaps you first anticipated, and then obviously the closures started to affect areas of my life. Coronavirus update. Today is currently Wednesday. So yesterday the Church of England, for those of you who don't know, I'm Christian, hi. Today the Church of England released a statement that basically is banning all like main services on a Sunday. I mean, before this we weren't allowed to shake hands during the peace, or at first you weren't allowed to dip the bread into the wine, but now wine isn't being served at all, and now services have been completely cancelled. Churches are still being open as places of private worship, which is still good. Another update, I went to Aldi today and there were signs on the doors saying like, due to the circumstances, people are only allowed 4 units of product each, which I know has been something that has been implemented for a while now in a lot of supermarkets, like in the past week, because people are basically panic bought and stock bought, and that was definitely the case when I was in line. All I was buying was like milk and crisps, and there were people, the people in front of me had a massive like, basically just stock buying items. Like there was a lot of frozen stuff in there, a lot of cans. I was like, great. And so it goes on, you know. Apparently there is going to be a statement from the Education Secretary at 5 PM today. Okay, so it's currently 11 minutes past 8. Earlier this evening we had another update from the Secretary of State for Education, this time saying that schools and sixth forms were going to be closed after Friday. A-levels and GCSEs are going to be cancelled, which is kind of a letdown for the students who have worked really hard. I know if this was this time last year, I would have been disappointed that I wouldn't have been able to do my exams. If my A-level results would have been based on just what I was doing in the year and not from what I got in the exams, I wouldn't have done as well as I would have wanted to in English language especially. Hope is not lost, and schools are not going to be completely closed. What they've done, which is quite reasonable, and I do respect them for this choice, is that children who belong to key workers, so like people like nurses and policemen and etc, things like that, will still attend school, which means that teachers still have jobs and they can still be paid and stuff, which is good. So I highly commend the government on what they're doing, because I trust that this government is going to guide this country through this pandemic, and that we will get through this and we will come out of the other side just as strong as we set out to be at the beginning of this year. But as you can see, I reacted fairly calmly to all this, and it was only when things started to really hit home that it really started to affect me. But I still, you know, didn't panic. You know, I still tried to keep as calm as I possibly could, because that is the most sensible and perhaps right way to really react to something like this. However, the same cannot be said for everyone around the world, especially this country, and that brings me on to the main two causes of my frustration when it comes to how people are reacting to this. The first being how quite a few people are reacting to how the UK government is handling this issue. Now, for those of you who are unaware, perhaps you don't live in this country, so you won't really know, the UK government every single day has been coming out with statements in terms of the action they are taking to try and keep everyone safe, and without fail, there are way too many people verbally attacking the government, especially the Prime Minister, for how he and they are handling this issue, saying that they're not doing enough. And, you know, I've even seen people telling him to resign, and I've even seen a petition, I think, on Facebook for a vote of no confidence in the government and the Prime Minister, which, quite frankly, is ridiculous in my eyes. Now, as I mentioned on the Instagram post, which I will put somewhere on the screen, and I'd highly recommend that you go and read that, because granted it's a bit of a vent, but it's definitely relevant to what I'm talking about right now. The role of a government in times of uncertainty and crisis is to guide the country through such crisis, reducing panic and stress, and doing whatever they can to keep everyone safe. And that is precisely what our government is trying to do, which is why it infuriates me seeing so many people punish them for doing their job. We have to remember that they are human beings who will have vulnerable family and friends, or might even fall into vulnerable categories themselves, just like the rest of us. And to be fair, to stand there, despite all the anxiety and concerns that they might have, and stand there calmly and deliver these statements and try and keep the rest of the country calm is, in my eyes, incredibly brave. So we should be supporting our government and not scrutinising them. And my second frustration is stockpiling and panic buying. Why do people do this? Why do people do this? Why do people do this? Every single time I walk into a supermarket recently, and it's just like the shelves have turned into a ghost town, completely bare, they've been raided clean. You know, the world has seemed to like run out of toilet paper all of a sudden. What are people doing with it? You know, using it as wallpaper. You don't need 2 trolleys worth of toilet paper, Karen, okay? Put it back, you only need 1. Oh yes, you know, we should all acknowledge this is a serious epidemic, but it's not the zombie apocalypse. We're not preparing for the end of the world, okay guys? Calm down. The more people are selfish and stockpile, the less there is for the actual vulnerable people like the elderly, you know? They need that stuff more than you do, Karen. So as the government have said, and as I'm now saying to you, think before you buy. Now, I'm gonna end this video soon, but I just wanted to leave with this little token of wisdom, if you will, for all the students out there. Now, obviously, as soon as the government announced that all A-levels and GCSEs were cancelled, there was a lot of stress and panic amongst students who will have worked really hard to try and get the best grades possible. Now, when I wrote the script for this video, there was no plan in place for what they were going to do about the exams. Now there actually is, so a little bit of stress has now been lifted. But in the meantime, I just wanted to mention something. If you guys were not aware of the StudyTube community on YouTube, all of them have basically come together and created this thing called the StudyTube Project. I will leave all the links to their social media in the description, because I highly recommend that you check it out. It's an incredible initiative, and it's definitely going to help all those students out there to get their minds off the fact that all of their hard work isn't going to be utilised. But yeah, at the end of the day, we will get through this. It seems very extreme at the moment because everything has been closed down, life has been put on hold, and there is definitely a lot of uncertainty, and with me now as well. So anyone who's feeling uncertain or a bit stressed or anxious, I totally get you, because now I feel the same way. Just try and take your mind off it as much as you can, you know, keep busy, with whatever you can do. I'm going to be trying to make more videos for my channel, so make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Everything is going to be fine, and I'm going to leave on that note. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more of my videos. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat, names to which will be as always at the end of this video. And yeah, I mean, the one silver lining for YouTubers, it means that we have more time to film and edit, so I'll see you guys in the next one.